video is about marking your quilt with chalk for your free motion quilting design. During last week's tutorial, I showed you how to mark your quilt using an iron out pen, a friction pen. So that was last week. The week before that, I showed you how to mark your quilt using a wash out pen. Now obviously this is still going to show the markings on your quilt until after you've washed it. This week I am going to be honing in on this blue section right here, and we are going to be marking the quilt using chalk. I have used so many different products when it comes to marking a quilt. Now I love this chalk marker, and the reason why I love it is because it's in the style of a pen, so I don't get chalk all over my fingers. It's encased in this pen. Now obviously I don't want to use this blue chalk to mark my quilt because I am not going to be able to see the blue chalk on my quilt here, so I am going to want to use a different colour. Now I'm not quite sure how well, because in my pack when I bought this, I got these packs of chalk with it, which is awesome. So I also got a white chalk, blue chalk and red chalk for my quilt markings. It's really easy to take this out, so I am just going to press this end here and it opens this like yellow bit at the end here, and you can just pull this straight out. How easy was that? Now the red or the white would work perfectly, but I've decided just to go with the white. So I'm just going to click the end again, and I'm just going to place this chalk back in here, and you can decide how much of the chalk that you want exposed here. You can pull it out a little bit, but I will just keep it out just a little bit like that. That's just enough. I'm going to do a very similar quilting design to what I did last week. So let's start marking your quilt. So I have this blue section here with my white chalk here, and I'm going to start marking your quilt with the free motion quilting design. Now the free motion quilting design that I am going to do is very similar to the free motion quilting design I did last week. So instead of going up and down, I'm going to curve round in the middle and come back down and curve around the bottom. So to me, this free motion quilting design looks like a figure 8. So the most important thing about this free motion quilting design is I want to make sure that this line stays pretty consistent all the way through to the middle. So then I'm going to create another loop and I'm going to come down. Now I don't have to be on a continuous line on this free motion quilting design because I'm just doing this, marking this out of chalk, so I can pick my pen up at any time. One thing about marking your quilt is that it gives you a bit of practice on anchoring that design into your memory, because you're doing it with chalk first and then you'll be going in and doing it later with the free motion quilting machine with your mid arm. Do you mark your quilt with chalk? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm finding this a little bit more tricky. I found it easier with the friction pen than I do with the chalk. So I'm just going to go in and do another curve. So if you want to practice your free motion quilting design with your pen, then this is good practice. But I am just going to do them loops, just lifting the pen up. There we go. And here we are over the Baby Lark tiara. I am not paid or sponsored to create this video. In the videos before, I showed you how to draw up your bobbin thread and some other tidbits on using the mid-arm. So please go back and have a look at them other videos for them tips. So now all it is a case of following the lines, but you want to be careful not to touch these choke lines too much because they are going to smudge off on you. So I'm going to get started here. Can you see here how it's smudged off slightly? So I would only work with like one block at a time, or at the most two, because you will end up smudging some of this chalk marking off. So that's just one thing just to bear in mind when you're marking your quilt with chalk. So in that comment box down below, I would like to know, how do you normally mark your quilts? Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a demonstration of quilting this free motion quilting design. Now, just because you've marked your quilt with the chalk does not mean that you necessarily have to follow these chalk lines precisely. The markings on your quilt are going to be a guideline for your thread. So don't worry if you're going outside the line or inside of the lines. These are literally just guidelines. You've marked your quilt just so it's going to be easy for you to remember this quilting design. So as you're quilting, if you want to change how many repetitions you have inside of there, you can do. This is totally up to you. It's your quilt. You do whatever you want with it. You are going to find that free motion quilting is going to be so much easier for you when you do mark your quilt. Now I'm just coming to the end of my free motion quilting design, and have you seen how quickly I was able to get that done? And there we go, we're at the end. Don't forget, by hitting that subscribe button, you will not miss my next video, because this is a video series. You don't want to miss next week. And if you have subscribed to me, don't forget to hit that little bell icon and it'll notify you every time I upload a new video. And somewhere around here there should be a video series, and it's the playlist that goes along with this series, and it'll take you right back to the beginning of making a quilt out of bedding sheets. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.